Okay, let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to break down Chapter 7 of an incredible 8-part tutorial. It's called IPv6 Troubleshooting for System Administrators and Technical Support. Now, if you're a sysadmin or working tech support, and you've already got your IPv4 troubleshooting chops down, but you're suddenly tasked with supporting your org's move to dual stack or IPv6 only, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're laser-focused on one absolute monster of a headache, the thing that trips up literally everyone: DNS and name resolution.
And we're getting all of our insights today straight from this fantastic manual by Virtualization Options LLC. They're a really solid Colorado-based technology research, education, and advisory organization. We're going to zero in strictly on Chapter 7 of their guide. We're not rehashing basic networking here, and we're definitely not pulling in stuff from other chapters. We're just focusing on helping you demystify these specific name resolution failures. Because let's be real, finding a host in an IPv6 world can suddenly feel like navigating a maze blindfolded.
So, let's start with the central mystery of Chapter 7. Why do IPv6 DNS failures seem so completely random? You know, in a legacy IPv4 network, you build up this muscle memory, right? When DNS breaks, it usually goes down in a blaze of glory. Nobody can reach the internet, or the internet is completely unreachable for everyone. But in an IPv6 or dual stack rollout, these issues often look like completely random, isolated network drops. You'll have one user screaming that a critical web app is down, while the person sitting right next to them is just working away, totally fine, no hiccups whatsoever. It creates absolute chaos for the help desk simply because the failure doesn't look anything like a standard DNS outage.
Which brings us to a quote straight from the manual that really hits the nail on the head. DNS is the interface between human-readable host names and IPv6 addresses, and a frequent source of subtle, hard-to-diagnose failures. Now that word right there, subtle, that is the key. The delicate translation to AAA records, which are basically the IPv6 equivalent of those familiar A records in IPv4, is incredibly fragile in a dual-stack setup. Your operating systems, your browsers, they're constantly making these invisible, behind-the-scenes choices about whether to prefer IPv4 or IPv6. And if that AAA record is missing, or incorrect, or just inaccessible, the connection might just hang, stall out, or drop entirely, and it won't even give the user a clear error message.
Just picture your IT help desk getting flooded with these conflicting tickets. On one hand, you have user A. Their machine successfully queries the internal DNS server, grabs the correct AAA record, and boom, total success. But then you have user B. Somehow, user B's machine is querying an external DNS server. And obviously, that external server has absolutely no clue what your internal corporate host names are, so user B gets a failure. The manual points out that this randomness is happening because different users are getting completely different answers, depending entirely on which DNS server happens to pick up the phone. It's not that your network is down, it's that your source of truth is totally fragmented.
This leads us perfectly into our first major section here, the VPN complication. You see, as organizations migrate to IPv6, they so often forget that their legacy VPN infrastructure was built with a deeply ingrained IPv4 mindset. So VPNs end up being this invisible culprit. They completely complicate the resolution path for AAA records. Think about it. When remote workers connect, the VPN software usually dictates the DNS path. It basically hijacks the operating system's DNS resolvers. And if that VPN client, or the server it's talking to, is misconfigured for IPv6, well, it can easily hijack or just outright break your internal name resolution. For instance, a user tries to hit an internal site, and the VPN client doesn't know how to handle the IPv6 AAA query. So what does it do? It leaks that query out to the user's local home Wi-Fi DNS instead of tunneling it to corporate. And of course, a home router can't resolve your secure internal server, so the connection just fails.
So how do we actually find the problem? That brings us to Section 2, diagnosing the source of truth.
To figure out exactly which server is lying to our users, or maybe just ignoring them completely, we have to explicitly test the DNS servers in the path. You absolutely cannot rely on standard browser error messages for this because they hide all the underlying DNS mechanics. So here is your troubleshooting toolkit, straight out of Chapter 7. These are 3 specific dig commands built to isolate whether your internal, external, or VPN DNS is the one handing out the wrong AAA record. By running dig plus short AAAA, followed by your internal hostname, and then specifying the exact DNS server using the @ symbol, you literally force the query to a specific destination. You want to run this against your internal DNS, your external ISP or public DNS, and, this is absolutely crucial, the DNS server assigned by the VPN. If your internal DNS hands back the right IPv6 address, but the VPN DNS returns absolutely nothing, well, there you go. You've just found the smoking gun behind all those random help desk tickets.
All right, let's move on to Section 3, Fixing Name Resolution.
Because finding the problem is really only half the battle, right? Now we have to actually implement the fixes outlined by Virtualization Options LLC to guarantee stability across your dual-stack environment. The manual gives us this super clear, strict 3-step checklist to align VPN configurations. Step 1. You have to ensure the VPN actively pushes the correct internal DNS server address for IPv6, not just IPv4, straight down to the connecting client. Step 2. Configure Split-DNS rules in the VPN client, specifically for your internal domains. This makes sure that queries for your private, corporate namespace actually go through the tunnel, while stuff like Netflix or external browsing goes out the local internet connection. That stops those DNS leaks dead in their tracks. And finally, Step 3. Verify that the DNS server the VPN is using actually contains the correct AAA records for your internal resources. If you follow this structured approach, you're going to ensure that split tunneling and DNS pushes create one unified, highly accurate resolution path for every single user, no matter where they're logging in from.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to take back to your own environments today. It beautifully summarizes everything we've looked at in Chapter 7. Is your VPN configuration quietly sabotaging your IPv6 migration? Seriously, think about it. It is such a critical vulnerability point, and it's so incredibly easy to overlook when your teams are just hyper-focused on routing and addressing. I highly, highly recommend that you go audit your VPN DNS rules and run those diagnostic dig commands today. Do it well before those random and totally frustrating help desk tickets start rolling in. Getting your name resolution right isn't just a nice-to-have, it's the absolute bedrock of a successful IPv6 deployment.